Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We've got a packed show today. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed live from Los Angeles. I'm Joy Taylor, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Joy. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
How was the weekend?
It was very good. Thank you.
Man, I can't believe you showed up today. That was a rough night.
You know, Skip, can you answer this for me? Why is it first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, you did no tweeting? After the game, he got Twitter fingers. Now all of a sudden he can tweet.
Wait,
why is that?
To the victor goes the spoils, right?
Are you carefully observing my Twitter?
Because it sounds like...
You know what, Skip? I think he set up a special alert.
Yeah.
Every time
Sounds like
you
you
tweet.
front running.
Twitter alerts?
It sounds like you front running to me, Skip.
Sounds like I was laying off until I just couldn't take it anymore.
No, you're laying off till they
How are
won.
you? Yeah.
Till they won. Okay, I got something for you today.
Imagine that. Shannon Sharpe accusing someone of front running.
I wouldn't do it, Joy.
It's a-
You know I'm not like that, Joy. That's not me. No way, no how.
Let's start with LeBron. It was a rough one for the Cavs yesterday, losing by 16 at home to the Spurs. LeBron finished with 33 points, 13 rebounds, and 9 assists, but he also committed 6 turnovers. He complained to the refs throughout the game about a lack of foul calls, even getting a tech. LeBron shot just 4 free throws and is on pace for his fewest free throw attempts in a season since he was a rookie. After the game, he was not happy with the officiating. Let's take a listen.
I think we're at a point now where we protect the shooter more than the driver. I mean, there's no reason I should be going to the line 4 times in a game when I drive 100 times to the paint. I'm getting hit and slapped and grabbed and whatever, whatnot. So, but we protect the shooter. That's what it's turned into. Chicks dig the long ball, and that's what it's about.
Shannon, does LeBron have a point?
Of course he does. LeBron James drove the ball yesterday 18 times. He shot 4 free throws. Let's put this in context. James Harden averaged driving the ball to the basket 17 times a game. He shoots 10 free throws a game. Devin Booker, Lou Williams are shooting more free throw attempts per game than LeBron James. And Skip, you always get them like, LeBron, drive the ball to the basket. No one can stop you. Well, this is the biggest deterrent for him because when he drives the ball to the basket, he doesn't get officiated fairly. And again, it goes back, he's like Shaq. You know, Shaq was the hardest guy in the NBA to ever officiate. Nowhere in the rule book, and I've looked at it a little bit, Joe, I haven't read it like I, do certain things, but I've looked at the rule book. But nowhere does it say if you're 6'8", 250 pounds, you would be officiated differently than someone who's not. Does the guy that's guarding LeBron, does he impede him from going where he wants to go illegally? A foul. Does he grab? Does he clutch? Does he slap? It's a foul. LeBron James is not. If you didn't know any better, if I just took James off the back of the jersey and watched him drive and watch how he's officiated, you would think he's just a guy. Now, that doesn't excuse George Hill, Jetty Osman, and J.R. Smith going 3 for 21, 0 for 10 from the three-point line. 4 of the starters had 14 points. LeBron James had 33. That doesn't excuse that, Skip, but what he's...
How many minutes did those other starters play in the fourth quarter? Just for the record.
I'm looking at George. I'm looking at JR. He played about 10 minutes too long. Jetty played
He played 0. JR played 0 in the fourth quarter. Jetty got in with 1 minute of garbage time left in the whole game, so he played 1 minute in the fourth quarter. Tristan played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter, and George Hill played 0 minutes in the fourth quarter. So Ty Lue just said they are garbage today, so they're not going to play a single minute of the fourth quarter.
And what happens, Skip, and this is what normally goes. LeBron normally tries to play at least about 11 minutes of the third quarter. They get him out, and then they try to give him a break the first 3 to 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. And that's kind of where the game got out of hand.
It did.
Because they made that three-point basket, and then they made 13 straight, so a 16-0 run kind of put the game, and by the time LeBron got back in, it had gotten out of hand. But there's a situation, Skip. LeBron is standing on the basket. Pau Gasol shoves him in the back with both hands. You saw it. Everybody saw it. They get the. Why you smiling, Skip? Why you key?
Pau Gasol? I'm not sure he could shove you down. Seriously.
Did he shove him in the back, Skip? Yes or no? That's all I'm asking.
I guess so, but Pau Gasol, they even let Pau dunk on him in the fourth quarter. He's like the least physical big man in the NBA. But go ahead.
But did he push? Look at
He's total finesse.
Skip.
Poor LeBron.
LeBron, he pushed the man in the back.
Poor LeBron.
He pushed him in the back. You know he pushed him in the back, and they get off a 3.
It's Pau Gasol.
It doesn't matter, Skip. He used both hands. He shoved the guy in the back. When have you seen this?
But that wasn't about driving the ball to the basket.
No. I'm just saying
Yeah.
the disparity, Skip.
Okay.
LeBron's at home. They shoot 14. The road team shoots 32. When was the last time you saw that happen? That doesn't happen often. And I think he's trying to plant the seed. Every once in a while, Skip, he's like, I get officiated differently. They're not giving me the calls that they give other guys that drive the basketball. And some guys that are not known as drivers of the ball are getting calls that LeBron James no longer gets. As Joey mentioned in the read, he's on pace to shoot the fewest amount of free throw attempts since his rookie season. He's driving the ball as much as he ever has, but he's shooting less at the free throw line. Why is that, Skip Bayless? This is unacceptable. LeBron James should be getting the same call as the James Harden, the Russell Westbrooks. Now, I know on average they drive more. I mean, and looking at the stats, it's a little misleading. But like you tell me, Joe, I'm an eye test guy. And my eyes tell me, I need glasses, but I had them on yesterday. And he's getting fouled.
You done?
And they're not calling.
Okay. Good. My turn?
Yeah.
Thank you. By the way, my story says he drove it 12 times, not 18 times, but I don't know where you got that, but maybe it is. Whatever, he drove a good number of times yesterday. So, before I launch into what I'm about to say, let us not lose sight of the fact that LeBron may be trying to take some of the focus and some of the blame off what happened in the fourth quarter, because at home, they got blown off their home floor once again, 34-20 in the fourth quarter. That's not pretty.
No.
And the best player on the planet is on one team, and the lowly Spurs are the other team, because you realize they came in having lost 6 out of 7 games, 4 straight games they had lost. They've been pretty pathetic without Kawhi Leonard. And yesterday, they didn't have a guy who had been vying for 6th man of the year in Manu Ginobili. He's got a chest contusion. He did not see the floor yesterday. And it was 34-20 Spurs just in the fourth quarter. So let's not lose sight of that. It may have been fairly strategic on LeBron's part to send this salvo at the referees just to take the onus off the mess that was the Cavaliers' offense on the floor during the fourth quarter, and their defense for that matter. But now let's go back to the bigger picture point. I am shocked that LeBron James chose yesterday to take this shot at the referees, because Mr. Sharpe, Exhibit A here is the San Antonio Spurs have fouled the least number of times in the NBA this year. They just don't foul a whole lot. So let's keep it in the context here that we have the team that's fouled the least after LeBron on Friday night played at Memphis. And by the way, I gave him high marks on Twitter for this. You can look it up. He did play back-to-back at Memphis on Friday night. But if you want to talk about discrepancy, Memphis is the team in the NBA that has fouled the most times. They have fouled 329 times more than the Spurs have fouled. So if you want to take a stand against the referees and how you're not being officiated, take it on Friday night ahead of the big Sunday national TV game against Popovich and the Spurs.
Okay.
Because Memphis fouls the most, and still you shot only 4 free throws against Memphis.
Right.
You played your high minutes, and he played by far the most minutes in the game yesterday, but he shot only 4 free throws yesterday, right? Okay, so your criticism, your case should have been made on Friday night about what happened at Memphis. They did win the game, obviously, but versus what happened yesterday. The Spurs have always played LeBron very well. As everybody knows, in finals competition, it's 11-5, Popovich and Spurs. That's the score of the games. They've won 11 games to 5 games for LeBron in his tenure in the finals versus San Antonio.
Correct.
So the point is that their mantra, and I've told you this again and again, on LeBron is, don't let him get to the rim. And because they are so long with Gasol and LaMarcus, especially when they're on the floor together, which is often, LeBron just can't get to the rim. And there was a play that was made with 6:57 left in the game that caused LeBron to get a technical foul, and Kyle Anderson actually blocked LeBron from behind. Are you believing that? I mean, Kyle Kyle can't outjump you right now.
Did he hit him in the face?
Nope, he didn't hit him at all.
Oh,
He
okay.
blocked the ball as cleanly as you can block it, and LeBron turns and whines to the referee about, he didn't hit him in the face. He got pure all ball. And LeBron turns and, you got it. And he got a technical foul, which he deserved at that point because he'd been crying about everything.
I don't believe it was about that play. That was the play that probably brought it to the crescendo. But he's complaining like they're fouling me before, and you're not giving me this call. But see, I love how you mentioned they were blown off the court in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, because they were.
The Cavs shot 3 free throws. The Spurs shot 13.
Well, one team's more aggressive than the other team.
Oh, really?
So
you want me to believe, you would have me to believe that Murray and these guys drive the basketball more than LeBron James.
The Spurs are by foul the fewest fouling team in basketball.
Yeah.
They play smart basketball. They don't foul a lot. You know, it's kind of an art form in basketball, lost on your eyes often, to try not to foul. Don't play physical, over-the-top, crash and bang basketball because that will send the other team to the free throw line. The Spurs don't send you to the free throw line very often, so why would LeBron take a stand against this team? I agree with you in the big picture. This is Shaquille O'Neal syndrome. It is, but it's been this way for the last, 5 years?
Yeah.
He is, by the way, Tristan said he weighs 280. Maybe Tristan's got some inside information.
LeBron don't weigh no 280.
That's what Tristan said. He's 280. I mean, he plays with him. He's his teammate. So I'm going to say, I'm going to start calling him 280-pound LeBron James.
No, don't do that.
6'9", 280.
He's 6'8",
That's
250.
unfair. That is unfair.
Stop it, Skip.
And the referees know it's unfair. They know that anytime LeBron wants to, he can get to the rim.
Okay, well, how about calling it?
Okay, so here's what happens. Referees are smart. Referees read the websites. They read all the newspapers.
Why are they reading the paper?
They know what's going on and what's not going on, and they know who can make their free throws and who doesn't make their free throws, and they're right there with me because they've known for years and years that LeBron, for all of his all-time greatness, and he is obviously all-time great. We can debate where he belongs on Mount Rushmore or whether he yet even belongs anywhere.
He's on Mount Rushmore.
Okay,
Stop talking about debating.
I'm not sure about that. But he has been a poor free throw shooter by his status.
Oh, so let me get this right. I just want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly and the viewers at home are hearing you correctly.
They heard.
The reason
might
why
not
the
have.
officials are not, Joe, I make sure you make, go ahead. Go.
I didn't get to finish my
I just want to make this one. Skip Bayless would have us to believe that the officials are not calling the fouls on LeBron because they know he's going to go to the free throw line and miss the free throw. So why call him?
Last year, LeBron James shot a career-low 67% from the free throw line for the whole year. That's just flat-out pathetic for a player of this magnitude.
But, Skip,
it's pathetic, and the refs know it. They're not going to give him a break because he is so big. We got Shaq syndrome going on, and also because they don't respect him because he doesn't make what they give him. Because James Harden is an 87% free throw shooter. And you are right. He has shot the most free throws and averaged the most free throws per game in the whole NBA. But the refs are saying, if I give him this call, and by the way, he's kind of a willowy 6'5", you know, he doesn't have LeBron's upper body, obviously. He deserves that call. He might deserve that call. Half the time I'm saying, that was a foul.
You know what? I sure hope the police have this. You know what? I'm going to say, look here, man. I don't know why you gave me this ticket. You know I'm going to be able to pay it. So you might as well just go on along about your business.
Oh,
Skip, you know good and well.
I don't know. I know how the psyche of these people works.
First of all,
they know LeBron's a lousy free throw shooter, so they're just saying, just get to the basket and make the shot. Don't drift, because even yesterday he starts drifting away from the basket.
They are fouling him. You don't get Skip. That's not how it's supposed to be. You don't get to determine if the guy's going to make or miss the free throw, whether or not a foul has been called. A foul should be called.
I'm just telling you how the mindset works.
Well, they need to get new
NBA referees.
mindset.
Well, okay. He needs to prove he can make free throws. If he were making 90% of his free throws, which he should be like like Magic, like Larry Bird.
They didn't make 90%.
They're right there. They're right there.
Only a handful of guys shoot 90%
Bird
for a
was
career.
right in there at 90.
Bird's like 88, 89. That's not 90.
Okay, well, that's close enough.
No, it's not close
Yes,
enough.
it
No,
is.
no.
Yes, it
LeBron
is.
is close to 75%.
Oh,
That's close
please.
enough.
He's shooting 74 now, and he's having a career year this year.
No, that's his career. That's what he normally shoots for a career, 74%. So don't make it seem like all of a sudden he's boosted at 10 points.
And then my favorite part of this salvo from LeBron was chicks dig the long ball. And obviously he's referring back to the, what was it, late 90s?
98.
Yeah, 98. Yep. I was there in Chicago with Sammy Sosa and covered the whole Mark McGwire thing. In the big Nike ad, chicks dig the home run.
Between Mark McGwire and Greg Maddux.
Yeah, okay. So I disagree with that. Tom Glavine.
Tom Glavine Maddux.
I disagree with that premise because to me, do I ever see at night on Twitter a three-point shot trending on Twitter? Somebody made a three. Wow. Do I ever see Steph trending for making a three-point shot? I don't.
Last Friday night when he hit three at the end of every quarter, except the
that
fourth.
was actually Thursday night.
Was it Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday, because we talked about it on Friday.
Yeah, Thursday.
But the point is that what I see trending every night is somebody dunking on somebody else, posterizing somebody else. Chicks, quote unquote, I don't even like the reference, forgive me for using it, but I'm just referring to the Nike ad, but chicks dig the slam dunk. And by the way, LeBron probably doesn't know that because he never participated in the slam dunk contest one time. Not one time. He may be a little naive to this.
So hold on, I want to make sure I hear this right, Joe. You heard this right. So in other words, the officials are punishing LeBron because you didn't participate in the dunk contest.
No,
we're not going to call foul when you drive to the basket.
He's got it upside down. Chicks dig the slam, the poster dunk, on somebody else. And LeBron is certainly capable of those poster dunks, and he's certainly capable, even in his 15th year, he could have won this year's slam dunk contest.
That's beneath us, Skip.
Okay, it's beneath you.
We moving on.
Okay.
Onward and upward.
Definitely.
Okay, Skip, what about Christmas Day? When the officials came out in that last 2-minute report, you remember the 2-minute report? And they said Kevin Durant fouled LeBron James? You remember in the finals of Game 5, it had been Kevin Durant's third foul. LeBron dunked the ball. He hit him upside the head. They didn't call a foul. All I'm saying is, Skip, officiate what you see. You can't say because he's the size of Shaq, it makes it more difficult for him to be officiated. He's being fouled. Call the foul. That's all you got to do.
Okay, I get you in the big picture of this. You're right about that. But not yesterday. And I just don't get why LeBron picked last night to go off on the way he's officiated.
Because can't think of a better time.
Can't think of a better time. But this is the one game in which you're up against a team that knows how to play you. So there wasn't one time yesterday I thought, oh, that was a foul, except I'll give you Pau Gasol pushing LeBron in the back. Okay. He's never pushed anybody in the back. I don't know what possessed him to push LeBron.
So they know how to play him. The man had 33, 13, and 9. And shot 56% from the floor. They really know how to play him, Skip.
How many free throws did he shoot?
4.
That's how they know how to play him. That's what they've always done to him. They don't let him get to the rim or the free throw line. It's hard, man. They are long and they are smart. And they close the lane and they help on defense in ways I still don't see the Cavs help each other. Pau Gasol dunked in the fourth quarter on the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Foul.
Are you kidding
I don't
me?
care about Pau dunking. That's only 2 points. I'm talking about LeBron James driving the ball to the basket and not being fairly compensated for his act. Now I need them to pay that man. He wants restitution, Skip. Now, he keeps driving. He's shooting the same amount of free throw attempts per game as Steph Curry. Really? Really, Skip Bayless? Steph Curry. You mean to tell me Lou Williams, Blake Griffin is going to shoot more free throws per game than LeBron James? Really, Skip? Lou Williams comes off the bench.
Okay, I want to know if really Shannon Sharpe sat back one time yesterday and said, he got fouled.
Yeah, I did.
You did not.
I did,
because it wasn't happening yesterday.
I saw Pau push him in the back.
You know what? I do think LeBron decided to try to take the focus and onus off what happened in the fourth quarter because they scored 20 points in the fourth quarter. And by the way, just for the record, last year they scored 20 points or fewer in the fourth quarter 11 times. That's just in the fourth quarter. And this year they've already done it 16 times, 20 points or fewer. And they still have, what's the constant? the best player on the planet was on the floor for all those games last year, but he's on the floor for all these
But
games
here's the
this
thing,
year.
Skip, if you look at it again, the same thing that happened the other night against Washington happened last night. They were 8 of 34 from the three-point line. They were 8 of 30 yesterday. The ball's not going in. When the ball doesn't go in, Skip, you're going to have this because they're shooting them. Because think about it. Remember I said the starters, George Hill, Jetty Osmond, and J.R. Smith, they were 3 for 21. They were 0 for 10.
They all got benched in the fourth quarter. They didn't play a single second.
But even that being said, Skip, they still were cold from the field. And that's what happened. One team got Danny Green. Now all of a sudden, Danny Green is struggling shooting the three ball. He comes into the queue and he can't miss.
Yeah.
I mean, he's taking the ball from the check line and pulling up. No conscience. 22. Danny Green hadn't had 22 points in 10 years. Now all of a sudden he got a
Danny Green once against LeBron James and the Miami Heat set the record for three-point shots made in an NBA Finals. So don't tell me he hadn't done this before.
And they lost.
Okay.
You remember that, right?
They lost because Ray Allen
Ain't
hit
no
the
Ray
three
Allen.
of
Ain't no
threes.
Ray Allen.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, LeBron had 37 points that night too, didn't he?
Okay.
And a
and he
triple-double.
committed 3 turnovers in the last 3 minutes of that game that were shockingly uncharacteristic of LeBron.
He got
James,
him back in the
best
game because they were down 10.
Yeah, and
he
then
scored
he missed
16.
the three that
We're not
could
going
have
back. We won that series, so we're not going to revisit that.
Okay.
All I'm saying is
We or he?
the Heat.
Ray Allen.
Oh,
Us.
he's
The
claiming the
Heat.
Heat now.
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah.
LeBron. Us.
Us.
All I'm saying is, Skip, is look, I get it. He's a big man, but they have, you know, and I'm like LeBron. They're trying to turn me into a jump shooter. They don't want to see me keep shooting 55, 56, 60% from the field, but I'm gonna, because I'm gonna keep driving the ball. I'm gonna put the onus on you.
Well,
But they don't have no problem calling charge. They call a charge on them in a heartbeat.
he was so discombobulated by his technical foul. You know what he did the next time they went down the other end? He shot the worst air ball I think I've ever seen him shoot from 3. So chicks don't dig that, man.
No.
They don't dig the air ball.
Well, yeah, they dig the long ball because Steph Curry and Clay, and since they started shooting these balls, everybody's trying to expand their game to shoot the 3. So the chicks do dig it. And like LeBron said, they're protecting the shooter but not the driver. And they need to do something about this. Now, I don't want to get on my phone and call Adam Silver, but I will if I have to if something doesn't change.
Shannon, you should be more concerned about doing something about your team that went and dominated Boston at Boston and Oklahoma City at Oklahoma
Dominated
City.
them.
Then took a little break and came home for 2 games post All-Star break.
We'll get it right.
And
They get it
got
right.
blown off your home floor, the new Cavs? What has happened?
It's the honeymoon. When you go on a honeymoon, you don't live in San Tropez. You don't live in Cabo. You don't live in. So now you go back.
No, they're back and it's getting
It's
real.
a honeymoon. Yeah, it's gonna be a little struggle. It's a grind. You know, because you're on a honeymoon, Joy. You know, you throw your clothes everywhere, ain't no problem. You go back home, pick these clothes up, and put them in the hamper.
Oh, so now it's changed.
We're gonna work these kinks out. We're gonna get our nice little rotation going.
So wait, are you saying the new Cavs woke up and said, oh, so this is how it is to play with LeBron?
No.
No mercy.
The NCAA has been under heavy scrutiny the last few days after Yahoo Sports reported dozens of major college programs paid money to recruits. Pistons head coach Stan Van Gundy went off on the scandal and the one-and-done rule yesterday. Let's take a listen.
The people that were against them coming out made a lot of excuses, but I think a lot of it was racist, quite honestly. And the reason I'm going to say that is I've never heard anybody go up in arms about, oh my God, they're letting these kids come out and go play minor league baseball, or they're letting these kids come out and go play minor league hockey. The NCAA is one of the worst organizations, maybe the worst organization in sports, and they certainly don't care about the athletes, and they're going to act now like they're just appalled by all these things going on in college basketball. Please.
Shannon, what's your reaction?
I believe Stan Van Gundy makes a lot of very valid points, and I think this does go along the racial component, Skip, for the simple fact of this. Mainly the men that are being affected disproportionately by this are black men.
Definitely.
As he mentioned, baseball, hockey, you're allowed to go straight from high school to the pros. Obviously, there's a minor league system, and you can do that. But these black men that want to I believe my talent is good enough for me to bypass college and go play in the NBA. They're being negatively impacted because they say, no. Although you might be 18 or 19 and we will allow you to vote. We will allow you to go serve the country and fight and die for this country. We don't think you should go at 18, 19 and go make a honest living. Where did they do that at? My thing is that, and what the NBA is trying to do is that they want them to go to college because that's their minor league system. We'll get an extra year to look at you and see. The NBA wants you to save them from themselves. Skip, just because a guy comes out of high school, that doesn't mean the Dallas Mavericks. That doesn't mean the Knicks has to select him because he came out. But 7 foot, 6'10", the guy's like, I got to. Then when he doesn't pan out, oh, see, it's the guy's fault. No, you just chose the wrong guy. It happens more times than not. It just so happens that athletes are more prominent. But there's a family that paid $300,000 for someone to go try to get a law degree from Harvard, and it didn't work out. Or someone to go try to get a med degree that didn't work out.
More than you know whenever.
Exactly, but we don't hear about it. Skip, the thing is, if someone, what are you going to college for? To try to get hopefully in the process, get an education, and then you can go get your ideal job, your dream job. Well, these one and done, these guys that want to go straight from high school to the pros, their dream job is to play in the NBA. It's not to go get a degree and say, I want to be a lawyer, or I want to be a doctor, or a teacher, or whatever. That's not their dream. And so in the process, you're like, well, no, this is what we want you to do. And it's like, well, we need a minor league system.
Yep.
If I join the military, Joy, they don't send me to the minor league to see if I'm ready to go fight and die for my country. If something pops off, if I'm in the military, guess where they send them 18 and 19-year-olds? They send their butt overseas to go fight. Well, if I can go fight and die for this country, I should be able to go make an honest living, Skip.
Correct.
That's my decision. And if it doesn't work out, so be it. That's the chance that you take, that when you skip college to go to the NBA, you might get a LeBron James. Look at Ncaa Okafor, Skip. It came down to him and Dwight Howard. I think Ncaa Okafor went maybe 2-3 years of college. Dwight Howard was coming right out of high school. And although we believe that Dwight squandered some of his talent, there's no doubt in anybody's mind he's had a better career than Okafor. It happens. But I don't believe, you mean to tell me that Kobe Bryant would have been better served, LeBron would have been better served going to 1 year of college? Absolutely not. I was reading the story last night. I didn't know this, and very few people knew this. Did you know Jennifer Lawrence dropped out of middle school? She didn't even make it to high school.
It was on 60 Minutes last night.
Skip, she dropped out of middle school. Now, what happens if Jennifer Lawrence didn't make it? Oh, well, that's between her and her parents. Her parents gave her that ability to say, okay, you want to be, because her goal wasn't to go to college. Her goal was never to be a lawyer or a doctor. Maybe it was to play one in a movie. Okay, that's how it works, Skip. But they need to stop this and stop trying to hide behind this, guys, we want to do what's best for the athlete. No, you don't. You want to make money off these athletes. And I'm glad, we're going to talk about this a little later. I'm glad them players getting $100,000, $500,000. Make that money. Because guess what? They say, if you're going to make me go to college, because I really want to go get $2, $3, $4 million. But if you're going to make me go to college in the process, Skip, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to get me a couple $100,000 while I'm here. And I don't blame them. Get it!
Okay. Now, overall, I'm going to step back from everything you just said. And I get a lot of what you just said except for your conclusion. I was stunned by Stan Van Gundy's comment because even though we all agree this is a sorry system and players, if they choose, should be allowed to go straight from high school. I think NFL, football players should be allowed to go straight from high school to play pro football if they so choose.
Even though it's more of a grown man game, if you want to take that
risk. But I have seen those running backs, starting with Adrian Peterson. I think he could have played pro football. I think Emmitt Smith could have played pro football as a college freshman and been just fine. Just fine. But again, fewer of those could be just fine.
Correct.
Okay? Now, back to Stan Van Gundy. The reason I was stunned by his comment is this is the one case in which I can't see any racism because this is the NBA's rule. It's their it's not college's choice. The NBA chooses to make players go 1 year to college. I think it's unconstitutional. I don't think it would stand up in court, but nobody seems to be able to muster up the money or the time or the power to go fight this. It would probably go to the Supreme Court. Okay, so I don't get how, look, the NBA isn't, do you think the NBA is a racist league?
No.
No, nobody thinks that.
But I
right?
think what Stan is saying, Skip, it disproportionately affect one group.
Well, sure it does. Okay, but again, you had the magic line. The NBA is trying to save itself from itself because its members, its teams, they don't want to have to pick a kid coming out of high school because they don't have enough body of work. Okay? Okay, but if they don't, they're afraid, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. So it benefits every team in the NBA for these players to go 1 year of college basketball. So now it's an I'll scratch your back relationship with college basketball because you're a free and great minor league for the NBA. It's not considered a minor league. It's considered college basketball. It's March Madness.
But it's minor league for basketball and football.
It's effectively a camouflage minor league.
Yes, it is.
Because you're getting to see these players at the highest level of college basketball, which is high, man. It's a big stage with a whole lot of folks watching, and you can see who rises and who shrinks under pressure in March Madness.
Yes.
And you could say, aha, that kid just got exposed. Maybe he won't be so good, so maybe he's going to fall to our 20th or 25th pick in the first round. So that doesn't smack of racism to me. That's just good business where they're saying, well, let's save us from ourselves, right? Is that racial? That doesn't seem racial to me.
Well, here's the thing, though, Skip. I mean, they make bad business decisions on other endeavors other than athletes. But no one's like, well, okay, we got to let this deal right here. I need to make this deal, but I'm going to wait a couple of years. No, Skip. Look, my thing is, if the guy is able to go play, if he believes he's able to go play, he should be allowed. And if he does not make it, it's on him. It's not, you want to blame the player where he wasn't good enough. I fought you for taking him.
Okay. So now let's look at the bottom end of the rosters.
Yes.
There are many veterans who are union members in the NBA who are fighting against this because they don't want to lose their roster spots at the end of the bench.
Right.
Because they can make even a veteran's minimum. I don't even know what it is now.
Probably about
$5-6 million.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's good money for them.
Yeah.
And they don't want some kid, and the horror story that everybody refers to was Jermaine O'Neal back in 1996, came straight out of high school into the NBA for the Portland Trailblazers as the 17th overall pick, and he lasts 4 years in Portland, and he started a grand total of 18 games and averaged about 10 minutes a game. So he's just sitting at the end of the bench taking a slot that could have belonged to a veteran making not that much money then, but to him, it would have been a whole lot of money. So you have about half the players' union fighting for this one-and-done rule just to save slots at the end of the bench.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's another give you a situation, Skip. The owners convinced the NFL players that we need to do away with, guys, the rookies, put a cap on the rookies because the Sam Bradford rule. Sam Bradford's coming in getting $50 million guaranteed, and that's more than Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and all these great guys. That's more guaranteed money than guys been proven. So what we'll do, we'll put a cap on those guys, and so that money will go to some of the veteran players. But guess what they do, Skip? They end up cutting the veteran players because now I can get a rookie because the vet minimum is like $1 million. I can get this guy, this rookie guy, I'm paying him $300,000-$400,000. So guess what? Now we got a cap on the front end. You got a salary cap on the back end, and now in the middle what? That money's in our pocket.
Okay.
So don't be fooled by that, players. That money's not going to you guys. The top guys are always going to get paid. My thing is, in tennis, if a female or a male is 16 years old, Skip, they can go in the WTA or the.
Okay, I got it.
And if they can't make it, they can't make it. Golf. Hey, if he can't make it, he can't make it.
Hey, golf, you have to pay your way, man. It's all up to you. You got to pay your entry fee. You got to pay your expenses.
If you can make it, you can make it. So in the NBA, if you forego college, oh well, so be it. Skip, if I'm a high school senior and I got like a 5.10 grade point average, Joy, and Goldman Sachs come to me and say, you know what, we see your grades. We think you're ready to do this right now. We're going to offer you $2 million to come on and work for Goldman Sachs. How many seniors, Skip, you think going to go say, you know what, I'm going to go to college. That $2 million can wait. Not very many. These guys are looking at it, Skip, like they're looking at their family situation. Okay, I'm going to college. I'm getting room and board. I got a nice place to stay. But mama and my brothers and sisters still staying in this leaky house. They still don't get to eat like I eat. I'm thinking about them. Okay, yeah, I'm fine and good. I got good books and I got a roof.
Okay, I got you, but this is the NBA's fault. Stan acts like he's blaming it on college basketball, like they're the ones. No, your league is doing it. So Stan is calling his own league racist. That's what he's doing. He's accusing the NBA of being racist.
Yeah, hey.
And if that's good with him, but I don't think he quite gets it. This isn't like Prop 48,
Right.
which seemed to have
Right.
sort of a racist undertone
Right.
to it. But in this case, Stan's even going so far as to say, this college system is broken and the onus falls on the coaches. So he's defending college coaches for paying players and getting caught for it.
Yeah.
And you can't defend them because the rules are
Well,
bad, but they're still the rules,
how about
right?
This, how about this, Ncaa, Stan? Maybe take it this way. Stan says if you're not going to come to spend at least 2 to 3 years in college, you can't come here. So the NBA say we don't want no one and done college. So what they going to do now, Skip? They need to find one guy to go ahead and take this up. We're going to march on down here. Because I know there are plenty of lawyers out there just waiting for somebody to bring one of these cases. The why I can go die for my country.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, the NBA doesn't have an obligation to let you in at a certain age. It's a private company. They can probably argue that we can hire someone however
He's
age
like, well,
we
hold
want
on,
to.
you let LeBron in.
Well, yeah, you can't have them leave straight from high school. They have to be a certain age, though. A big part of it is the players, the veteran players, not wanting to lose their spots.
No mercy.
Dez Bryant is coming off a disappointing season, and the Cowboys missed the playoffs. Despite that, he said he would not take a pay cut, putting his future in Dallas in question. On Friday, Dez had a strong message for his critics. Take a listen.
I let a lot of things get in the way that shouldn't have never got in the way. I'm ready to make my mark. I don't care about what nobody's talking about. I can care less. You know, everybody ain't with Dez Bryant. They can kiss my ass. I'm no longer here to please the soul. I feel like I've been pushed to the edge, and I feel like I'm going to help push it to the edge. You know, I got to get it. You know, a lot of plays was left on that field, you know, because of me. Me allowed my brain to be somewhere it shouldn't be. I should have been focused on football and straight football. And I promise, you know, that's what I'm going to do from here on out, regardless of whatever situation that I'm in.
Can you even imagine the idea of wearing the 8s in another uniform?
Nah, man. Hell no. It don't seem right. You know, it wouldn't be right. You know, I do want to bring this city, you know, a championship. You know, we ain't had one, you know, since the 90s.
Shannon, what do you make of those comments?
Hold on, wait a minute. After your 8th year in the league, now you're ready to make your mark. Hold on, Skip, hold on. I could have swore about a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago, a reporter asked Dez Bryant about taking a pay cut. Hell no. Hell no.
That's exactly how I get it.
Hell no, I'm taking no pay cut.
Yep.
I feel I'm a top receiver. I'm making plays. What a change, Skip. Because here's the thing, that ego. There's ego, and then there's the realization of what's about to transpire. Stephen Jones ain't setting these breadcrumbs out there for his help. There have been other times. After the 2015, he could have said what he said. After 2016, this is the first time this offseason they're planning. They have, and in an interview, they said, we're going to talk later. We hadn't had that conversation, but he knows what's coming.
I think they're going to sit down at the combine this
now,
week.
He also said that he was hurt. I tell guys, and I saw it right across, I said, Skip, there are times I went out there on that field, I had to take injections, I had to do a lot of things to go out there and play, but all they saw was 84 and Sharpe. So they expected me to be 100% and make those plays. The Cowboys know what was going on with Dez. They seem uninterested. And I tell players this all the time. I say, I'm telling you, they'll never love you like you love them. And Dez Bryant is starting to see that. Skip, it's over. You got one or two choices. Either they're going to make a clean break or they're going to give him a 75% haircut. The choice is his.
Yep.
There's no other way around this. Now, I tell you why he really doesn't want to leave, because he's comfortable. Skip, he knows the offense. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to learn a new offense. And it gets real easy, because when you step out and you go somewhere else, you got to learn a whole new offense. And then you got to go show that new team and those new teammates why, what you are.
Yep.
Dez don't want to do that. So, all this time when Dez had that God-given ability early in his career, that's when he should have been focusing on his craft. I said it for the longest time, and a lot of people have said it. Oh, we Dez haters. Dez cannot run the full route tree. Dez run a handful of routes. We've had cornerbacks come on here and say, I'm playing Dez, this is what I'm playing for. They named 3 routes, where there are 15 routes in the route tree maybe, and he can only run 3. They can't move him around like they move Julio, like they can Antonio Brown, like they can Odell Beckham. He's making top dollar, but giving you the 20th receiver in the league, maybe low. First of all, he ain't even giving you Golden Tate production. And Golden Tate makes half the money that he makes. So he's been fooling people. Now, if you ain't with Team Dez, you can kiss his butt. Oh, damn, look here. Me and Skip ain't no fan club. You know, I got my fan club. You know, me and Bron. I'm the president of the Bron fan club.
I'd say.
Skip is the president of the
You're the
Cowboys.
president and the vice president of that club.
He's the president of the Cowboys and the Spurs fan club, and Tom Brady, too. Joy, when is that episode 6 of Tom Brady time versus Tom coming out, Skip? But back to Dez. Skip, you know this. You watched it. Dez is a shell of himself, and the realization is starting to sink in that it's over for him in Dallas. As much as he hates that, and he said it doesn't seem right, you're right, Dez. It doesn't seem right that you're getting worse after you got that big payday.
Correct.
And you're going to make your mark in year 8, year 9. Bro, if you ain't made your mark by now, if we don't know who you is, like Teddy Pendergrass, if you don't know me by now, you will never know who he is.
For me, as the president of the Dallas Cowboys fan club, this was the last straw. This was the final indication that Dez Bryant has got to go. This is Dez Bryant saying, I was born to be a Cowboy, and because of that, I should retire a Dallas Cowboy. As if there's some heavenly mandate out there that, oh, once you become a Cowboy star, you get to be a Cowboy star as long as you feel like it, even if you don't work at it and even if your body breaks down. And it doesn't work that way.
No.
On Undisputed, you're only as good as tomorrow, right? In pro football, as you well know, you're only as good as next game. And then the next game. And then you have to keep earning your stardom.
Update that resume.
Update it. And he downdated it every game last year, all the way home. I'm not going to say he was the reason, but he was a main reason for the plunge from 13-3 to 9-7 last year. Because as you point out, he became a broken down shell of himself. We talked about it all year. And unfortunately, the game plans continue to feature a number 88 who couldn't even separate from the second corner because he often started to draw the second corner in single coverage. Just that they didn't even flip-flop. They didn't even travel with Dez. Whoever's over there, just take him because it's easy. And Dak Prescott struggled because he continued to go with his right read, which is to throw it to 88, covered single by the second cornerback. Nope, didn't work. He led the NFL in dropped passes. I don't want to go deep into the stats, but just process this. Put this in your pipes and smoke it out there in Cowboy Nation. The targets in 2014, which was a really big year for Dez Bryant, it was a star caliber year. Targets just about the same in 2014 as they were last year. Catches dropped from 88 all the way down to 69. Yards dropped by about 600 yards of production. Touchdowns dropped from 16 to 6. He caught 64% of his targets back in 2014. It dropped all the way to 52% last year. That's just not good enough. And I know his body broke down, but that we can't fix that. I can't help that. If you don't work on it, if you don't get better, I can't help you. And he had the audacity in that interview to say the reason he struggled is he let his mind go where it shouldn't go on its critics, on the critics. Like he was thinking too much about the critics and that cost him on the field. Well, that's your fault, big man. Hey.
For the reason we should let him go, because the critics are going to be even more outspoken now. You was telling us what they say, you know what type of receiver you are. So what they say does not affect you. That's what you said. So come to find out what the critics were saying. Because here's the thing, though, Skip. If it's not true, do you think I let what people say about me that's not true bother me? He knows what. Because you know what, Skip Bayless? They might say, well, that's not what I meant. But if you notice, them guys don't call those Shannon Sharpe out when they be talking football. When I say this is what's going on,
they can't.
All they got to do is call Dez Bryant. Anytime you're ready, we can watch film together. O'Shea ain't watched film in a while, but I love to watch film.
Good point. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I would love to see it too, and I'm going to tell you.
I'd like to be a fly on that wall.
And you know what? And I tell you, you know what? I don't even know what his route, but I can tell you where he lined up.
Yep.
And I can tell you by his third step probably the route that he's going to run.
Well, you only have a couple of choices.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And the thing is, look at Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald swallowed his pride and said, you know what? Because here's the thing, Skip. When you play outside the numbers, you that boy dog. You the man. You on that island. That means you get to get all the best. You get into the lead. You get in the Ramses. And now Fitz, hey, he won't decide. He said, what you think?
Yep.
I gave him what I honestly thought. Larry Fitzgerald had 3 extra 4 years. Larry's going to be able to play as long as he wants to. Still led the league in catches. Went to another Pro Bowl. But Larry was expanding his game while he was immensely talented.
Yep.
He was working on other things.
Nobody thinks less of Larry Fitzgerald. For
No!
Nobody even thinks about that. They don't even. That's not even a factor.
But you know, Skip, when you go from the outside to inside, you don't get the adulation because most of the top receivers, they play on the outside.
But that's an inside football thing. Maybe you don't get quite the respect inside football.
Right.
Outside, nobody really cares. Just produce.
They just see
catch
you,
it.
They just see you making them plays.
That's correct.
But also, Skip, you have to be able to have a lot of things on your plate when you play that slot, because a lot of things are bang bang.
Yep.
You got to see it, because if it's not bang bang, either the quarterback gonna get you knocked out
That is
or the
correct.
ball's gonna get picked.
Yep.
And Dez, the ball's in your court. Now, if it was me, I would go somewhere else because it would force him to work.
Yep.
Because he's not comfortable. See, Skip, sometimes we get comfortable in a situation. Dez knows that Cowboys offense backwards and forwards. He knows what he has to do.
Yep. And trust me on this. This is one thing I do know because I was there for a long time. It's good being a Cowboy star in Dallas, Texas. It's good being in Denver, too. It's a good football team. But you have to earn that right and continue to earn that
you don't get
right.
you don't get the rest on your laurels. You don't get, man, I was good at 24. And all I'm saying, Skip, okay, 2015, maybe that's an anomaly. But he's put together 3 of these seasons in a row.
Yep.
Now, at what point in time do we say this is who he is and he's never going to be what he was? At some point in time, we have to come to that conclusion. It seems to me, it becomes very apparent to me that Stephen Jones has come to the realization the last 3 years of what we saw of Dez Bryant, that's more in line who he's going to be moving forward
That's correct.
as opposed to 13 and 14.
It is time to clear the air, clear the decks, to start fresh in Dallas and let him, as you point out, start fresh somewhere else. They can save, if they make him a post-June cut, $12.5 million. That can be spent on younger, fresher, hungrier talent at the wideout position. I'm ready to go. I'm sorry, I've seen enough. I'm sorry, Dez, but you can kiss my, you know what?
What?
Yeah.
You out on Dez?
Yeah, I'm out.
Okay, Joy.
Yeah.
I'm shocked, too. I'm shocked. Skip Bayless is giving.
Shocked. I've been saying this all year.
Well, even though it is different playing for the Cowboys, Dez is in for a rude awakening if he thinks he's going to go play somewhere else, and they're not going to be critical of him. Because at least in Dallas, you have Dez supporters and loyalists. If you go somewhere else and perform that way.
Yeah, but it starts with the owner of the team, and I'm still not sure the owner is going to cut bait or cut ties with Dez.
You know what it is, though, Skip? That $16 million, he ain't seeing that.
No.
I don't care where he goes. He can go play on the moon. He's not getting $16 million again, ever.
No mercy. LeBron James was criticized earlier this month by Laura Ingraham of Fox News for sharing his political views. Yesterday, Greg Popovich praised LeBron for speaking out and even compared him to the movie Black Panther. Let's take a listen.
You can speak about anything. There really is a First Amendment, and I can have opinions as a coach, as a plumber, as an astrophysicist, as a lowly reporter. I can have whatever opinions I want, and that's what's amazing about this. When you look at this guy, how many millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars he's given, tens of millions of kids that see him, that are inspired by him. It's kind of like the Black Panther movie. It's how cool is that for kids to see that and have that superhero? Well, now LeBron's been that for a long time, and for somebody to be totally numb to that and attack him in such a childish way really speaks more volumes about that individual than it does LeBron. He's very, very special. We should all be very proud that we have somebody like that who's willing to speak about a variety of topics, and you've listened to them all.
Shannon, what's your reaction?
I'm not surprised, and Greg Popovich is absolutely right. Skip Bayless, you're a White Panther. I'm Killmonger. And every day I come to take my throne.
Wow.
Maybe you'll need
You know Killmonger doesn't win in the end, right?
Yeah, but I'll be trying. I'll come and get back. He had some help.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of him. It wasn't because of old Panther. He took Panther down. Skip, LeBron James is one of the greatest examples of what this country is supposed to be about. You talk about a guy that grew up in the inner city to a single parent who was a teenager when she gave birth to him herself. And with no really dominant male figure around, he didn't go to college. He's learning how to be a man on the fly. No on-the-job training, no father to sit down or no uncle to sit down and say, son, this is the way you do it. So he leaves that environment. He makes good on what he wanted to become, which was a professional basketball player, and he goes back into the community in which he came, and he's trying to bring thousands and thousands of other kids, not to play professional basketball. He says because they don't need another LeBron James, but we need more lawyers, more doctors, more teachers, more firemen, policemen. That's what it's about, Skip. The man, and Michelle Campbell, who's the executive director of his foundation, said without LeBron James outside of basketball, I'm going to tell you there'll be like 1,200 kids that will get left behind, that were behind in their grades. But because of LeBron James, they're moving ahead. He's taking money through his foundation. 1,100 college kids that took the pledge, I promise, is going to be able to go to college at no expense of their own. This fall, I promise his public school is going to open its doors. You Skip, and the thing is, we were talking about it today. I think he has a chance to do what Muhammad Ali did. Now, granted, Muhammad Ali was under a different sort of circumstances. He lost 3 prime years of his fighting career. LeBron James is going to lose none of that.
Yep.
But Muhammad Ali opened America's eyes.
He did.
To a lot of the injustices that were going on. And he was saying, right here, you want me to go fight abroad for something when I can fight for something right here that's equally as important to me. And LeBron James is like, I get that I'm a basketball player. I get that I make millions and millions upon millions. But that doesn't negate the fact of what I see happening in the very country that I love and that's given me so much that I see wrong that I got to keep my mouth shut. For so long, there have been a lot of prominent athletes. It was more important to them to build their brand, to sell certain things, as opposed to highlight some of the injustices that they see. And they saw them as plain as day. LeBron James, he doesn't let a whole lot go unnoticed. Started with the Trayvon Martin, with him wearing the hoodie, and it's coming. The I Can't Breathe t-shirts, and with everything that he sees something that he feels that his voice must be heard or need to be heard, LeBron James is going to speak out. And I'm sure there have been times that some people in his camp like, Bron, don't touch that, bro. Like, nope. I can't lay my head on my pillow at night. And I think a lot of it has to do because he has 2 sons. And a lot of what's going on right now in America affect young black men. And LeBron says, I got 2 young black men. And I never want to have that call come to me. So Greg Popovich is absolutely right. It's great to see your hero. It'd been, I mean, I would have loved to have somebody that grew up, that came before my brother and I and went to college and played pro sport, but that's not how it was. But I did have a dominant male figure. My grandfather, my uncles were around, and then my brother took the role once my grandfather passed. But it's nice to see that, you know what, Skip? They're a black superhero, old Black Panther. I mean, for the longest time, you know, we can be a sidekick. We couldn't be a lead dog. Now we got Black Panther. And our Black Panther, as far as getting this movement of sports figures, is that guy out of Akron, Ohio, playing for the Cavaliers.
So, to start off with, I've been saying on national TV for at least 5 years that LeBron James is having even more impact off the court than he's having on it. And
Absolutely.
that's not to diminish in any way, shape, or form the impact he's having on the basketball court.
Correct.
I didn't need Greg Popovich to tell me that. LeBron is very, very special off the court. I'm just talking off the court in impact. It's real, it's tangible. The number you used is tangible. And I think he's only just begun. I think this is going to be a lifelong pursuit of his.
I do too.
And I actually can't wait to see what he does when he does retire from basketball. The sky is the limit. he could be effectively Black Panther.
Yes.
And it is really great. I got to see it Friday. So
T'Challa.
did you see it Friday? Or?
Yeah, I saw T'Challa. I'm Killmonger.
But I love the end of it. Yeah. You got one of those?
Nope.
I thought I saw something
I
glow.
I don't think you could sit through that.
I
that
think I
vibranium.
saw something glow.
You might need to get some of that for Kawhi Quad. You know, they hear that vibranium.
Take him into Wakanda and fix him
Yeah.
up.
But what happened in the very end of Black Panther when he goes before the United Nations? What was he bringing to the world? The wisdom of Wakanda, right? The brains, the genius, right? That's okay. So that I love that message.
Right.
That the Black community has something to bring that can save the world beyond revolution, right? Which was Killmonger.
And the thing is, Skip, if you look at it, and not to say like, you know, Muhammad Ali and Kareem, there have been a lot of guys, but they didn't, with social media now and the outreach and the tentacles that LeBron has to reach way beyond, because Kareem has been doing this for the longest time. There have been a lot of prominent Black athletes, Skip, but they didn't have the reach of LeBron because now social media, there's not a place that he can't go where they don't know who he is. And for him to be so great in his community, we're never, ever, and politics, Skip, politics and sports have always been intertwined, especially when you're dealing with the Black athlete. It goes back to Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was the Black athlete that was prominent, that was in your face and boastful, that they tried to silence. And it's been going, and it's come full circle. So to say, oh, I don't want sports and politics, it's always been that. And LeBron James, Skip, what's not to like? I get, you know, okay, he's a baby. Okay, he's 3-5 in finals. Okay, that aside.
But we're not talking about that.
Take that aside, Skip.
No.
Off the court.
No.
The man takes his money and put it where his mouth was. And he's opening a public school. I promise. Do you know what that means to a whole generation of blacks?
I got it. Well,
and I'm sure it's not only blacks, but in our community, we ask a lot more of our superstars and our heroes than in other communities.
Yep.
And for LeBron to give back, Kevin Durant just made a pledge of $10 million to D.C., where he grew up.
He did.
You're starting to see more athletes now become more and more heavily involved in the outreach of growing their communities, because they say, well, hey, you talking about it, are you going to be about it? We see a lot of these prominent figures, be it basketball, be it football, and I'm sure in other sports, go back in, lift up so others can get out.
So, given all that, is it a good thing that a white man, in this case a prominent NBA coach, spoke out in favor of LeBron speaking out? I guess so.
Yes.
As you know, I'm a Spurs fan. I'm not the biggest Popovich fan because I don't like his behavior with the media, and it offends me more and more almost by the night. And so I have some suspicion of why he's boosting LeBron. Obviously, if you go deep down, he would love for LeBron to come to San Antonio next year and finish it out with Coach Popovich.
But he's always spoke glowingly about LeBron.
I got that. But my issue with Popovich, and the reason I disqualify all this, obviously he and LeBron share the same view of our current president.
Yes.
But what bothers me the most about Popovich is that if he wants to use the media, as he did yesterday to make this statement, he's going to use the media.
And you're very nice to him, huh?
In general, he has one thing and only one thing in common with our current president. He bullies the media just the way President Trump bullies the media, or uses the media when it serves his purpose, right?
Yes.
And in this case, how many times have we seen him? He was in a good mood yesterday. This is pregame when he was talking about that, and he said the lowly media. But usually, if you saw his postgame last night, they won the game. They had one of their, you could argue, their nicest wins of the year. And he treated the media questions with condescending disdain that was just deplorable to me. It was disgusting to even watch it. Now, again, I've been in that role and I've been asking those questions, but they are legitimate, fairly innocent basketball questions, and he can't treat that reporter with any respect whatsoever. I don't get that. And how many between quarters interviews do we see him just dismiss the question and walk away? I don't know. And that's lovable curmudgeon that is Coach Popovich, right?
I think the thing is, Skip, why it means so much to have, because Joe and I having a conversation between two blacks, that doesn't do anything. We need the other side. For a black coach to say, Doc Rivers to say that, is not going to care. It's just like Black Panther. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to a lot of blacks, but let's be real. There ain't enough blacks to make that movie what it is. There's more whites going to see that movie. That's why it's at $700 million in 2 weeks. So that's what we need to have the conversation to shift. So get the white counterpart to have this conversation with us to start this process of, okay, now we can have this conversation on race. Now we can get to the crux of some of these issues and how we're going to deal with them.
Yeah. Well, sports is a microcosm of society. Whenever we talk about things that happen that are negative, guys getting arrested or domestic violence or something like that, it's not because it's exclusive to sports. It's because sports is a microcosm of society. Yeah. Everything that happens in the world also affects sports because they're human beings and those circumstances affect them as well. But to me, to diminish everything that LeBron's done, he may be the all-around greatest superstar off the court that we've ever seen. And that's just, he hasn't even retired yet. Right. He hasn't even had the ability to apply himself completely to it. I think when you look back, we talk about with Colin Kaepernick this all the time, history's going to look back more favorably on him than he is now. We know that with Muhammad Ali. Everybody didn't like Muhammad Ali. No. Look at Jackie Robinson. I mean, he never even really gets brought up when we talk about things like this. Roberto Clemente. These are guys that were very active in the community and made lasting impact in the whole world, not just in sports. So to diminish what LeBron's done, to me, when you look at the numbers and the people that he's affected, is really to diminish the kids that he's impacted, yeah. No mercy. On Friday, ESPN reported Arizona basketball coach Sean Miller was caught on an FBI wiretap discussing a $100,000 payment to freshman star DeAndre Ayton. Miller said he will be vindicated, but he did not coach in Saturday's loss to Oregon. This came after Yahoo's report naming dozens of college basketball programs for paying current and former players. The president of the NCAA responded to the scandal by saying, quote, "We're serious about making real systematic change."
Right.
We're joined now by Eric Dickerson. Eric, what's your take on all of this?
Well, first of all, the NCAA, they're the biggest hypocrites of all because this has been going on for decades, even going back, even before I started playing football, basketball. NCAA exploits not just black kids, white kids, Asian, anybody who plays anything basketball, baseball, or football related because they make the money. They make all the money, and the kids aren't allowed to make money. You gotta understand, a lot of these kids that play basketball or football come from broken homes, mama taking care of them, grandma taking care of them, sister, brother taking care of them, and that's their way out. And all of a sudden, you have to go to college for 1 year. Now, I know that's the NBA rule, but I feel like the NCAA is right there. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. You give me some, I give you some. So it's a way for them to really exploit those kids. And what are they gonna say? Well, we give them a scholarship and housing. Oh, thank you, Massa. I appreciate that. For me giving the housing and getting something to eat. It's more to it than that because they're making all the money. This guy, Mark Emmert, he makes $2 million a year. I tell you what, if he's serious about it, let's say, okay, Mark, you take your salary, put your salary to the side for the years, say 4 or 5 years, until this situation gets straightened out, till these kids start actually getting some, I gotta say money. It's money because, look, I just admit it right here. My days, we took stuff, everybody did it. Everybody still does it. It kills me when I hear people say, oh, Alabama, they don't have to do that. Man, you tell me a kid from California can't wait to get down to damn Alabama? Let's be serious about it. Come on, I'm from Southern Cal. I want to go to Alabama. It's money exchange. It's money exchange. If I'm the top recruiter in the nation, I'm not going to get anything, nothing. I got a mama at home that's struggling, and all of a sudden, they give my mama $5,000. Oh, we going to blame the kid. He making all this money. It's not the kid's fault. You're trying to take care of your family. And that's what it's all about. That's what I don't think if you've never had these problems, you don't know what it's like. Right. You don't know what it's like to have 1 meal a day, not 3. You don't know what it's like to have 1 pair of shoes. See, I know these things. I'm from a small town. I have 1 pair of shoes for school, one
One
pair of
player.
shoes to go to church in. That was it.
And one to play in.
And some tennis shoes. And the tennis shoes to play in came from school. The old cloth Converse shoe. That was it. See, a lot of the white, and I'm not. It's not. I even say race, but it's mostly the black kids. It is the black kids in the broken neighborhoods, the hoods, the country, the small towns. And you know, I'm just real passionate about it because I see how they do these young men, and it's just so wrong if they take any money. I mean, first of all, if I'm a young kid and I want to go on a date, how am I gonna go on a date? I don't have no money to go on a date. I want to take a girl I want to take her out to a movie. I want to take her to dinner. Like you owe me $500 for dinner, girl, like that.
400.
500 anyway. I'll bet. So anyway, it's just so frustrating to see how the NCAA has exploited all of these kids, and I just feel like they are the biggest criminals in the world. And all of it starts at the top. All of it starts at the top. You look at, I gotta just say it, all these white guys sit up there making all this money off the backs of the black and white players. That's what they do. And it's basically, it's slavery. It really is slavery. And they might not want to say it. They're gonna, oh yeah, we're gonna clean it up. They know what's happening. You tell me they don't know. They don't know. These big schools that do stuff, they're gonna get a slap on the wrist. They will get, some of that. But the smaller schools like my school, SMU, we got the death penalty for paying players supposedly. We did.
And where did it stop?
We did it. But Texas was doing it. A&M was doing it. Arkansas was doing it. All of them are doing it.
Start dry snitching on them.
I'm gonna tell on everybody. All of them are doing it. Because you know what? I talked to the other players. Oh man, yeah, I used to get $500 a month. They took care. They bought my mama a house. You know, they bought my mama. We needed a washing machine and a dryer. We didn't have no. We had to dry clothes on outside on the clothesline. All of that stuff is just so wrong. And I could go on this subject forever, but I'm gonna let somebody else talk about it. So let me shut up for a minute.
Bayless, for me, Sean Miller is probably going to lose his job. And he's probably never going to coach again. And this is going to happen because he was dumb. Because normally what happens is that the head coach, the guy that sits next to the head coach, that sits next to him, that sits next to him,
that's correct.
He gets his hands dirty.
If they're smart.
That's right.
So the head coach hand stays clean. Mm-hmm. Come on, let's be real. You look at that. Do you see that guy? That guy's gonna be either the first or the second pick in the draft. The guy that got the 100,000.
DeAndre Ayton.
That was a discount.
He's gonna be the first pick.
$100,000.
$100,000 for the first pick in the draft.
Get him cheap.
That was a discount.
Wait, Markelle Fultz, who was the first pick, got $10,000 to go to $10,000? That's shameful.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm talking about shamefully low, right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's
but that takes care of something for mama. That takes care of something for mama and grandma.
Yes.
But it takes care of something. $10,000 a lot of money. Who a kid ain't never seen $10,000.
At least you can date a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, this isn't surprising, and I don't see the NCAA changing because, like I said, as ED you mentioned, I say when these guys come, a lot of them come from single-parent homes. They're raised by their mom or their grandparents, or maybe an aunt. And Skip, there's not a whole lot of money back there. Now I'm gonna stay in a nice dorm room, got great facilities. The training table is unbelievable. But grandma and mama and brother and sister, they still hungry. And now I'm trying to get to point A. I'm at A right now, but I'm trying to get to point B as fast as I possibly can. Now, in the meantime, there's a whole lot of minutia here that you got me going through. Because I want to go from high school to the NBA.
Right.
Because I got to feed mama. I got to get mama out of this rat infested or this rain infested home that we're in. Skip, there's a story guy was telling me about. He said he called two prominent college coaches. I'm not going to call their name. He said, I'm going to tell you what I do. He said, I won't call the NCAA and tell them that you putting gas in that boy's car if you don't call and tell them we bought that car for him. Skip, this is never going to stop. It's never going to stop. You mean to think about it, Skip. You mean to tell me all these 5-star recruits. Now, I'm not saying Duke got anything to do with it, but how you get the first, the second, and the third top-rated basketball players? How Kentucky? You mean to tell me Boogie Cousins and John Wall, they like horses that much?
I can't wait to get to Kentucky.
All I'm saying is this. You know what's going on, Mark Emmert. Good luck trying to clean it up. Because as long as you continue to make them go from high school to the college, they're going to take money. And you're just not going anywhere, Skip.
Got it. I need to get back to my friend Eric Dickerson.
This is your wheelhouse.
Okay, number one, big picture to both of your points. The single biggest injustice in all of sports is that football players must wait 3 years after high school. Not 1, 3 years.
Exactly. I'm going to come back to that.
To earn the living they should be making if they choose coming right out of high school.
I agree.
And I realize it's a man's game that you have to go play, and so maybe you're not quite ready to play that man's game, but I'm going to suggest to you that when he was at Sealy, Texas, as a high school senior, I think he could have gone to the Los Angeles Rams at that point and had a pretty good year as a 19-year-old. Am I right?
I think so.
I believe you could
I
have.
believe so.
Running back for sure translate. I believe Adrian Peterson could have. It might be a handful compared to how many NBA players could be as 18, 19-year-olds could be successful. But again, I hate when you use this slavery analogy because it's just so bad. I'm not sure it's slavery. I know you think it's close, but...
It's close.
Okay, but now let's go back to SMU days. Just for those who don't know, this man signed with SMU. Craig James was already there. Ron Meyer, who's the coach, I was working in Dallas as the columnist of the Dallas Morning News at that point, called me that afternoon and said, "You won't believe what we just did. We signed Eric." I said, "You got Eric Dickerson on top of Craig James?" Which led to a nickname called the Pony Express, which eventually led to a documentary done by SMU called Pony Excess, because in those days, SMU boosters decided, we're just lowly little SMU. We are going to buy a Southwest Conference championship, and they did. They nearly bought a national championship because you came real close.
We were the best team in the country,
You
too.
were, and they came within a tie. They got tied at Texas Stadium by Arkansas and Lou Holtz. That cost them the national championship that Penn State eventually won. But the point is, starting with Sherwood Blunt, who was the head of the boosters, they laughed at NCAA rules. They didn't just dodge them. They scoffed at them. And Ron Meyer would go into inner city Houston and put $100 bills, tack them on coaches' bulletin boards as his calling card. So they just said, this is absurd, these rules are. And I'm pretty sure they paid Eric Dickerson a good bit of money. Am I right about that?
I don't
He had a
know.
Trans Am.
You don't know?
I can't recall. I got CTE. I can't remember
Did you have
right
a Trans Am?
now. I did have a Trans Am. My grandmother bought that Trans Am.
She wasn't working.
Let me tell you something. Yes, she was.
Now,
Hold up.
Did you not get some annuity or some, I don't know, I think I just got you on that one.
I don't know.
Am I right?
I can't recall right now.
Can't
I just
recall?
can't remember. I'll put it like this here. I got something. Let's put it like that. Like all players get something. And my grandmother did buy that Trans Am. Let's go back to that. Because the NCAA came to my house every day for 1 solid month. Every day. And I won't forget it. My grandmother told him, she said, if I see you here one more day, I'm going to sue you and I'm going to sue the NCAA.
Wow. I
never saw the guy. The guy came so much that he used to have dinner with us.
Was it David Burst who was the head?
I forgot it was a black. It was a black. It was a black. It was so long. I mean, that was back in the 70s.
Okay.
And finally, I never saw him again. So they could not prove that my grandmother, because she had all the receipts, she had everything to show that she paid for that car.
Yeah, they did a good job.
They did a good job. Look, man, I'm gonna tell you something, Skip. You know how it is. Look, the thing is that these players, even in my era, look, we were poor. We were poor. I mean, we're poor kids. And for somebody to give you $500 or $1,000, that's a lot of money. But the first thing people are going to say, well, you get a scholarship and you get housing. Man, look.
I can't eat that.
Thank you. In football, a lot of football players don't go to college to graduate. The first thing they think, I'm going to the NFL. Same thing with basketball. They don't. I'm one and done. You think you know what? I'm going to go one, but I'm going to go back and get my degree. Hell no. I don't even want to see that university again. I'm thinking about this.
But even if you did, shouldn't it be your option to go back and finish your degree, and then you have the money to pay for it yourself?
It's just an option, but 99.99% of them are not going back. It's all about getting the money to take care of mama, daddy, grandma, sister, and brother.
Okay, so how much was your annuity? We just need to know. Was it $100,000? That would have been pretty good in those days. Man, no?
I didn't get no.
500,000?
All I'm saying is that
I can't recall.
He said his mama needed a refrigerator, and Texas bought the refrigerator. But then
I think A&M bought the refrigerator.
A&M bought the refrigerator, and then SMU built a house around the refrigerator.
We need to wash it or dry. Let's put it like that. That's what we need to wash it or dry.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back again tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.